Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring. On today's episode we're going to be reviewing this right here, the Lectron Tesla to J1772 charging adapter for your EV. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned because we're coming right back at you. Alright everybody, well welcome back. So we have this product here, the Lectron Tesla to J1772 adapter charging cable, if you will. Now this product was sent to me by Lectron. I did not pay for this. So they actually reached out to me to review this product for them on my channel. And you know, we get an awesome opportunity here to actually try this out and see how this works. Now let's just go over the look of the product real quick. Now this does come in two different colors. Now this is the all black color that we have here. You can also get this in white, which would actually change most of this handle to white, and you know, this part of the Tesla side white as well. But this is the fully black version. Now let's go over build quality real quick. Now it is completely plastic except for obviously the rubber cable in the middle. All feels of very high quality. Like this is a relatively heavy part in the sense of how it feels. It feels really good and really heavy. So I really do like the feel of this. I really like the quality. It's a nice solid sounding plastic on both sides. Doesn't sound hollow at all. Now let's go over the Tesla side first. So the Tesla side here, as we can see, is pretty much just a capped off Tesla connector on this side. Now it does have this nice end cap here that protects the plug from being damaged, or if you throw this in your car, nothing can actually get in there. So the cap is a really nice idea. Now the cap is tied to the cable with this small steel wire, which is nice to see. Now this cap comes off just by pushing this button right here, which is the release for the Tesla charger adapter. So what you do is you just pull that down and the cap comes off like so, and this will just dangle when it's plugged into your vehicle. And of course on this side we have the Tesla side, which is where you plug your Tesla adapter into right here. Now this is really nice. This has got some high quality parts. You know, just inside of this plug I can tell that there's really no cheap plastic. I mean, this centerpiece that's right here in the center is not bending at all. It definitely does appear that they put a nice solid piece of plastic in there that won't, you know, bend or end up breaking on you after, you know, so many uses. So that's nice to see on this side. It has all the proper pins in there for it to accept the actual Tesla charger in here. Now, don't get confused with these. These do not work on Tesla superchargers. These are only to be used with your home chargers in your garage or destination chargers out in public or in hotel parking lots or whatnot. So make sure you don't go using this on a Tesla supercharger out there, because it's not going to work for a couple reasons. Number one, Tesla superchargers aren't open up to any other manufacturer as of yet. And number two, this is only to go from the Tesla side to your J1772, not CCS. So you would have no way of charging your car with the DC pins because this does not have that. Let's go ahead and swap over to the J1772 side. Okay, so on this side we have a very similar setup. We do have a cap over the J1772 connector. Now this is a different style. This is a rubber cap with a rubber leash to it here. Now the reason that they have the rubberized on this side is this is the side that plugs into your car. So this way, if this thing's hanging and then just kind of swinging around in the wind, you don't want this hitting your car and scratching it, which is why they made this out of rubber. Really smart idea. Let's take a look at this connector. So the J1772 connector here, also nicely done. I think they did a really awesome job of the quality of the pins inside. It looks like they are, you know, manufactured very well. There's even a rubber O-ring on the inside to make it as weatherproof as possible, which is nice to see. Now it does have the typical J1772 release mechanism right here, which is very nice. Now the one thing I will point out is right here you'll see that there is a small hole. This is actually a way to lock it to your car so people can't just come up and do that and pull it out of your car and steal your adapter. That is actually designed for like a small key lock or something like that that you can slide in there, and that will prevent this from being able to go down. And as long as you can do that, then nobody can just walk up to your car and yank it out of your car. Good on Lectron for putting that in there and making the safety a priority on this as well, because that makes a huge difference when it comes to being more comfortable about plugging this in your car out in public or overnight at a hotel somewhere. So good on them for making that a priority when building this. Now the overall design is pretty obvious to a degree. You don't want a straight piece of, adapter here, because then, if you have something like this that's sticking straight out, this is close to, 1.5 feet long. And if you have something like this and you're in a parking spot, then this can obviously very easily protrude into a parking spot next to you, or worse, somebody can come pretty close and end up hitting your adapter. This would plug into your car right here, and then this is obviously angled down for that particular reason. So the charger can kind of drape down like this, and then wherever it needs to go from there. And as you can see, this is very bendable as well. I mean, you can practically bend it into a U like this, or you can bend it straight as you saw me do before. So it is very bendable rubber cable that they do put in the middle here. So you can actually, if you had to bend it and move it a certain direction, you can do that. So overall, I gotta say that I like the design. I like the setup of this cable. Now we gotta do some testing with it to see how it works. Now, we have a Hyundai Ioniq, 2017 Hyundai Ioniq, that we're gonna go ahead and plug this into. And then we have a typical 110 volt Tesla charger, wall charger, that we're gonna plug into this. And we're gonna see how the car reacts. So let's go ahead and shoot down to the garage, plug this in, and see how the car charges from it. All right, well now here we are in the garage ready to test this Lectron Tesla to J1772 adapter. So a couple things we're gonna go over before we just go ahead and plug this into the car and see if it works. First thing I wanna go over is something that is on the box. If you look at the box on the back of it, there's a couple things that I wanted to bring up. Since this is the charging section of the video, these are probably really important tips to know before you start using this product, or even before you buy it. Now the first thing it says is, when using Tesla destination chargers, ensure that the output is less than 48 amps. Now you'll notice that when you buy this, it actually says on the website, it does say 40 amps maximum. And basically what that's saying is that the actual charging cable adapter should not be used in stations more than 40 amps. Now the box is a little confusing because it says output is less than 48 amps. It probably should say more like should not exceed 40 amps or something like that, because this makes it look like it could probably accept 48 amps, which maybe it could, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. Now, the weird thing about Tesla destination chargers is that you could come across some that are 60, even 80 amps. Now, the next question you're probably asking is, well, how do I know if a Tesla destination charger is 40 amps or 60 amps or 80 amps or whatever the case may be? Well, the answer to that is not a great one. You're probably best using an app like PlugShare on your phone and seeing what other people have reported. I recommend, if you're going to use this in public and not in your garage where you know exactly how many amps your charger is putting out, make sure that you use this on a charger that's 40 amps or less. I would not exceed more than 40 amps. Unfortunately, all the Tesla destination chargers around me are over 40 amps, and I honestly don't want to take a chance and possibly break this. So I'm not going to attempt to do this out at a Tesla destination charger. But what we are going to be doing today is testing this with a Tesla mobile charger, basically the charger you get with the vehicle when you buy a Tesla. Now it's going to be just a 120 volt charger because I don't have a Tesla wall mount 240 volt charger, but we're going to plug it into this guy right here, just a standard Tesla 120 volt, just to make sure that the adapter is working correctly and is functioning with the vehicle. Now, the second rule on the back of this box, which seems to be a pretty important rule, is allow up to 30 seconds to pass after connecting this adapter to the Tesla charger before connecting the other end to the vehicle, the J1772 side. Now, I feel like that's a pretty important thing as well, because there may be some sort of circuitry inside of there that requires a couple seconds for this to register with the adapter before it allow it to pass through. So with that being said, it's probably a good thing to wait at least at 30 seconds. So anyway, let's get started with that. So now the first thing I wanted to try with this charger is charge rate. I wanted to see if the charge rate drops by having to go through this adapter. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to take our here it is, our Hyundai adapter that we use to charge this car normally. Now this is just a 120 volt adapter as well. We're gonna plug this into the car. We're gonna take a look in the vehicle and see what the estimated time remaining for the charge is, to see if there is a difference between when we plug this in versus when we plug the Tesla charger in with the adapter. Now I know this is not a great scientific method to see exactly how much power is going into the car, but this car doesn't give any way of knowing whether or not the amperage or how much power is going through. Basically the only thing I have to judge off of is how much time is left for the charge. So let's go ahead and plug this in, give it about 30 seconds, see what comes up on the dashboard of the vehicle, and then we'll see if there's a difference between this one and the Tesla charger. Okay, so now that we have a baseline in the vehicle, 18 hours and 30 minutes to a full charge from its current state of charge, let's go ahead and plug this adapter in. But before we do that, let's go ahead and just go over exactly how everything looks on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the Tesla cap on this side first and give it a little bit of a tug, and there we go. So now this is exposed. So let's go ahead and pick up the Tesla adapter and go to plug it in, and just like so. All right, so it snaps in. Now this is locked in so it doesn't fall out. However, there is no way of locking this side. It's actually just a lift and, you know, kind of pull like that. But let's go ahead and just plug that in like so. And we're gonna give it that 30 seconds and see what happens when we plug this side in. We'll take a look at what it estimates for time left. And then we're gonna go ahead and experiment with this and see if we can play a little bit different methods of plugging this into the vehicle and see if we get anything different. So we'll give this about another 10 seconds or so, and then we'll go ahead and plug it into the vehicle. Okay, well, I believe that's been about 30 seconds now, so let's go ahead and we're gonna take this cover off the J1772 side. We're gonna go ahead and plug it into the vehicle. Let's see how this feels as well going into the vehicle. Okay, not bad, pretty snug, feels pretty good in the car. Now let's go ahead and take a look in the vehicle and see what the rate of charge is showing, or at least what the estimated time left is. Oh. Okay, so I just heard it clicking as well. So that means it's doing something. So it sounds like it is charging the vehicle now. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, well, here we are in the vehicle again. So it is still showing that 31% state of charge like we did before, but it's showing 19 hours and 10 minutes. So it is up a little bit. It is showing about an extra 40 minutes of charging. So there might be a bit of a loss in amperage going through that adapter. So that's really kind of interesting. I didn't expect to see that actually on the 120 volt, you know, Tesla adapter. I really thought it was going to be about the same either way, but we're going to give us a few more minutes and check in, and then we'll see if it changes at all. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes or so with this adapter plugged into the car with the Tesla 120 volt charger plugged into it. Now, the dashboard is now saying about 19 hours, so it's come down about 10 minutes from the initial plug-in, which sounds about right for that 5 minutes of charging. It dropped about 10 minutes. I mean, that does happen, but it's still significantly higher than what it was, about 30 minutes. So I definitely believe that, you know, this adapter does cause some resistance, and, you know, seeing that outcome makes sense to me. So yeah, obviously using this adapter, you are going to have a little bit of heat loss because it has to, you know, convert this into this. So there's a little bit of resistance in this cable that is causing that, you know, little bit of loss of charging speed. But I really don't think that's anything to be concerned of. I mean, it's a minimal loss. I mean, you figure over the course of 19 hours, you know, you're losing maybe 30 minutes of charging. So I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Now, if you're charging with a 240 volt, you know, you think maybe an extra 4 hours of charging may end up being 4 hours and 10 minutes of charging or something like that. It's probably very minimal, the loss, considering, you know, the difference we've seen between just the Hyundai charger plugged into the vehicle and this with the adapter. So at this point, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this plugged in. We're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes. I'll come back out and revisit with you. Okay, well, welcome back. So it's been about 30 minutes since I've last checked in with you. So the first thing I want to do is check what the estimated time of, you know, charging completion is on the vehicle. So let's go take a look in the vehicle. All right, so here we are in the vehicle once again about 30 minutes later, and we are at 18 and a half hours, which is where we started when we had the
Hyundai charger plugged in initially. So we've already gone up about 2%, and we have about 18.5 hours of time remaining. So definitely appears that that was accurate, about 19 hours, 10 minutes when we first plugged in. So yeah, at this point, I'd say that's a pretty accurate time.
All right, well, that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and test a couple other things while we're here. Now, like I was saying before, this J1772 handle here has a hole in it where you can put a lock to stop people from thieving it from the car. On this car specifically, Hyundai locks the charging handle to the car as long as it's charging. So I can't pull this handle out of the car right now. It's not going to come out of the car at all. Now, the one thing that you could do is you could always come up to the Tesla adapter, lift up on this and then pull the charger out like so. So this is not secured in here in any way, shape, or form. Now, if you're at a Tesla destination charger, for instance, nobody's going to steal the Tesla cable because that's on the charger, and nobody can steal this if it is tied to your car. But here's the thing. The second that this gets pulled out, the car loses charging from this, which means that this then becomes capable of coming out. So that's why they give you that hole right there for you to be able to put a lock through, just in case somebody decides to take this side out and know enough that, take this out first, and then that will unlock with the vehicle. So, no big deal, but something to definitely think about if you're going to be charging this out in public. Anyway, let's try a couple things real quick. Now that I got this all unplugged, let's go ahead and plug this in to the charger and then immediately plug it into the car without waiting that 30 seconds. Let's see if it actually works or if it gives us some sort of weird charging fault or something. So let's go ahead and plug this in and plug this in. And we'll just see if the Tesla charger clicks on and starts working, or do we actually have to wait that 30 seconds or so? Everything is clicking, looks good, and the car is charging. So it worked for me, it worked for this car, so I guess you don't necessarily have to wait that 30 seconds. Maybe on the 240 volt, the destination chargers, maybe then plugging it in, giving it a couple seconds, and then plugging into the car is better practice. But in this case, I was just able to do that, and voila, it worked perfectly fine. Once again, we are locked into the car because the Hyundai says, I'm charging, you can't unplug me unless you do the proper order of events to make it happen. I like this product. I like how this hangs here, so once again, it hangs on this angle so it doesn't, go into another parking spot if you happen to be parked next to another vehicle. But this is really nice. I like the way it's designed. I mean, you even have these, the rubber cap that I had mentioned before where, this is going to be hanging by your car. So you don't want this to be plastic like this. So, that dangling next to your car is going to be safe for it. This is a great idea. This is a great adapter. I think it's good. My only concern with it is that 40 amp limit. I really feel like they needed to bump that up. Make it 60 amps, make it just 80 amps just for the sake of safety, because there's a lot of destination chargers out there that are 80 amps. And, if somebody doesn't know any better, or if somebody just happens to show up at a charger and doesn't use PlugShare to look at these things and they plug in, that would be my only concern, is just not knowing how many amps the Tesla destination charger is putting out and whether or not this is going to be safe. But anyway, I'd like to thank you very much for watching this video. Now, if you are interested in purchasing this product, you could take a look down below in the comments and the description. I'll go ahead and put a link to the Lectron page and also the Amazon page where you can pick these up for yourself if you're interested in one of these adapters for your car. I think it's really good. We came across during our road trip this year where we ended up staying at a hotel, and unfortunately that hotel only had Tesla destination chargers at it. So this would have been a great thing to have with us. We could have been able to charge the car up overnight, and then the next morning we could have just got back on the road. This would have been a good tool to have in the vehicle. It just kept it in there, and I mean, it's relatively small enough where it can fit in a compartment in the back. But this was a very nice product to review, and I'd like to thank Lectron very much for sending that to me. And I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Now, if you don't already subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe just down below. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, Don't forget to check us out on our website, techmotoring.com, on Twitter @techmotoring, facebook.com/techmotoring. I'd like to thank you very much again for watching, and remember, welcome to the future, and welcome to Tech Motoring. And we'll see you all on the next episode.